lecture of solution chapter. In the previous video lecture, we have discussed the non-ideal solution showing positive and negative deviation from Raoult's law, right? So in this video lecture, we will be discussing about the some other important topics, that is azeotropes. So azeotropes are also called as constant boiling mixtures. Okay, here I've taken the graph of the positive deviation from Raoult's law and negative deviation from Raoult's law. Okay, with this help of this graph, I'm going to explain what are the azeotropes. Okay, so so in the left side you have the graph which is representing the graph of non-ideal solution showing positive deviation from Raoult's law. From Raoult's law. On the right side you have this graph which shows a negative deviation from Raoult's law. Okay. So have a look at the graph. You have a curved line over here at one particular point, I'll mark over here, where there is a vapor pressure of the curve is going to be having a maximum vapor pressure at this point. Okay, so this is the maximum. Okay, first we'll discuss about the first graph. Okay, so in this particular graph where the curve is having a maximum bend, or you have having a maximum vapor pressure at this point. Okay, so this maximum vapor pressure shows that the mixture will have maximum vapor pressure So if the mixture having a maximum vapor pressure, obviously the boiling point will decrease. Okay, so these mixtures have less or low boiling point. That means they boil at very low temperature. Okay, so such kind of mixtures which are having a maximum vapor pressure and they boil at very low temperature, such kind of mixtures are called as minimum boiling azeotropes. Boiling azeotropes. That means when you take two different mixture, that is a mixture of solute and a solvent. Say take for example, you have a mixture of ethyl alcohol and water. So each component will not exhibit a different kind of boiling point. So it's a kind of mixture and it will show a particular boiling temperature. So such kind of mixtures having a maximum vapor pressure, those kind of mixtures we call it as minimum boiling azeotropes. That means because of the increase in the vapor pressure, they boil at very less temperature. Okay, so this is the example for minimum boiling azeotropes. Okay, so the non-ideal solutions showing a positive deviations are also called as minimum boiling azeotropes. Okay, it's because of the vapor pressure. So similarly, for the negative deviation from the Raoult's law, the curve has bent little down. That means the vapor pressure has been decreased drastically. Okay. The reason for the decrease in the vapor pressure I explained is basically due to the molecular interactions. Okay. So here, at one particular point on the curve, there is a maximum deviation from the Raoult's law. So at this point, where the vapor pressure is going to be very, very less for the mixture. So why there is a very, very less vapor pressure? Because of the molecular interactions. So such kind of mixtures having a less vapor pressure, nothing but they have minimum vapor pressure or they boil at very high temperature. High temperature, so that's why they are having high boiling point. Okay, since vapor pressure is going to be very less, obviously it takes a lot of temperature to boil. Okay, right. So such kind of mixtures, they boil at very high temperature, having high boiling point. So those kind of mixtures we call it as maximum boiling azeotrophs. Right. Okay. So we have two different types of azeotrophs. That is, one is minimum boiling azeotrophs and maximum boiling azeotrophs. Example for this maximum boiling azeotrophs, take for example H2O and nitric acid. Okay, so this is the example for maximum boiling azeotroph. Okay, so why there is a maximum uh, boiling point for this maximum boiling azeotrope is because of the decrease in the vapor pressure. As the vapor pressure decreases, the solution will obviously boil at high temperature. That's why they are called as maximum boiling azeotropes. So this is because of the deviation from the Raoult's law. So this is about the azeotropes or azeotropic mixtures or constant boiling mixtures. Okay, let's move further. Next, we'll come to the colligative properties. So colligative properties are very important. So from this, the problems will be asked. Formulas are very important as we're going to discuss or we want to solve the problems. Okay. Colligative properties. As we have discussed about the non-volatile liquids dissolved in a volatile solvent something, the vapor pressure of the solution is going to decrease, right? So we have seen the lowering of vapor pressure. In the second case of Raoult's law, we have seen, right? That is, when you dissolve a non-volatile solute into a volatile solvent, we have seen the lowering of vapor pressure, right? So here we are going to take an example. Say, for example, you have two beaker. In the first beaker, I have taken, say, for example, 1000 ml of water. Second beaker also, I have 1000 ml of water. So in the first beaker, I will add 1 gram of sucrose. Okay. In the second beaker, I'm going to add 1 gram of urea. Okay. At a particular temperature, what happens is they will decrease the vapor pressure of the solution at a particular temperature. Both the solutes will decrease at the same rate, or they will decrease the vapor pressure of the water in the same rate. Okay, 1 gram of sucrose and 1 gram of urea in 1 liter of water. Suppose if I am taking, instead of 1 gram, I'll take 2 gram of sucrose in the first container and 1 gram of urea in the second container. So the decrease in the vapor pressure is more absorbed in the first beaker because I am taking 2 gram of a solute. In the second beaker, I am taking only 1 gram of solute. So what I'm trying to say is, if the lowering of vapor pressure is observed, it mainly depends upon the amount of solute which you have taken. It does not depend upon the nature of the solute or what the structure of the solute. Does not depend upon upon the nature of the solute. Nature of the solute. So if you take more amount of solute, there will be more decrease in the vapor pressure. Okay. So similarly, it does not depend upon the nature of the solute. So this is what I wanted to say with an example. Okay. There are some important things. So first we will see what is this colligative property. Okay. From the Latin word, co means together and ligare means to link. Okay, there are some properties. There are four properties. That is relative lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. All these properties together, they try to focus on how to lower the vapor pressure of a particular solution. So that those properties we together call it as colligative properties. So each one of the properties we will discuss and we will try to understand what they are trying to show. Okay. First property, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure. First property, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Right. Okay. So according to this property, say we have discussed about the Raoult's law and all. So in the both cases of Raoult's law, we know that we have seen that that is vapor pressure of a solution vapor pressure of a solution is equal to mole fraction of the solvent which is present in the solution okay multiplied with vapor pressure of pure component. Okay, so this we have this definition we got it from the Raoult's law. That is both a liquid type of solution, both that is volatile components, and solid liquid type of solution, that is solid is non-volatile and liquid is volatile in nature. Okay, so if you represent this in terms of symbols, so what we get is vapor pressure of the solution, I'll take it as Ps, is equal to the mole fraction of the solvent in the solution, I'll take it as x1 multiplied with the vapor pressure of the pure component, I'll take it as P naught. Okay, so I will rewrite this above equation, rewrite the above equation, that is Ps divided by P naught is equal to x1, right? Okay, so this is the equation. I will consider this equation as equation number 1. Okay, so you can pause the screen. Okay, so we got the equation, that is Ps by P naught is equal to x1. This is the equation 1. Suppose if you have a solution which contains N2 moles of solute dissolved in N1 moles of solvent. Okay, I'm taking N2 as number of moles of solute in a particular solution and N1 as number of moles of solvent in a particular solution. Okay, so what will the equation 1 becomes? That is, if I take x1 is a mole fraction, that is becomes N1 divided by N1 plus N2. So this is the formula which you already know from the first PUC, right? There is mole fraction of the solvent is equal to number of moles of the solvent divided by total number of moles. Okay, so I'll substitute this into the equation 1. So it becomes PS by P naught is equal to N1 divided by N1 plus N2, right? Then to this equation I'm going to subtracting each side from 1. So we get is 1 minus PS by P naught is equal to 1 minus N1 divided by N1 plus N2. Okay, I'm subtracting 1 from both the sides. So it becomes 1 minus PS by P naught is equal to 1 minus N1 by N2. Okay, so it becomes P naught minus PS divided by P naught is equal to N2 divided by N1 plus N2. Okay, this I'll consider it as equation number 2, and this particular equation is called as relative lowering of vapor pressure equation. Understood? Okay, this particular equation we call it as relative lowering of vapor pressure equation. I'll write the terms which I am using in this equation, that is P naught is vapor pressure of pure component, okay. PS is vapor pressure of the solvent. Okay, sorry, it is vapor pressure of solution. Okay. N2 is number of moles of solute. This is very important. N2 means this number of moles of solute. Okay, N1 is number of moles of solvent. Okay, so this you have to remember. N2 is particularly for solute, N1 is for solvent. This you don't need to confuse, because once the problem comes, you have to take the solute as solute itself and solvent as solvent itself. Okay, right. So we'll move further. Now, suppose if you want to determine the molecular mass of a solute, determination of molecular mass of a solute. Okay, suppose you have taken or you have added a solute into a solvent, and if you don't know what is the molecular mass of the unknown solute, And how to find out the molecular mass of the unknown solute, that we will derive. Okay, according to Rover's law, we got that P naught minus Ps divided by P naught is equal to N2 divided by N1 plus N2. Just now we got, right? So, so in this case, say for example, if W2 gram of solute is dissolved in W1 gram of solvent having M2 is molecular mass of solute and M1 is molecular mass of solvent. Okay, suppose we don't know what is the molecular mass of the particular solute which you have dissolved in a solvent. So in that case, say for example, we'll consider roughly W2 is a gram of the solute. Okay, you have added W2 gram of a solute into W1 gram of a solvent having a molecular mass, that is M2 is the molecular mass of the solute and M1 is the molecular mass of the solvent. So in that case, you know that N2 is nothing but number of moles of solute. I'll write here number of moles of solute. So how to get N2, number of moles of solute, that is, you know the formula, that is weight of the solute divided by molecular mass of the solute. Okay, it's a simple formula. Similarly, N1 is equal to, that is number of moles of solvent is nothing but weight of the solvent divided by molecular mass of the solvent. So these are the two formulas to find out the number of moles of the solute and the solvent. Okay, so using this N1 and N2, I am going to substitute into this equation. I'll take this as equation number 3. Okay, I'll substitute the value of N2 and N1 in the equation 3. Okay, so it becomes, I'll take the equation number 3 once again, P naught minus Ps divided by P naught is equal to N2 divided by N1 plus N2. Okay, now it becomes P naught minus Ps divided by P naught is equal to, what is N2? Write once again, N2 is W2 divided by M2. Okay, W2 divided by M2 divided by W1 divided by M1 plus, this is plus, W2 divided by M2. Okay, now if the solution which you have prepared by adding a solute is a very dilute solution, say for example it is a dilute solution, you have taken a dilute solution, then the concentration of the solute is going to be very, very less. In such cases, number of moles of solute is going to be very, very negligible compared to number of moles of solvent. So we consider that as a dilute solution. So in that case, we are going to neglect N2. Neglect N2, that is number of moles of solute, because it is present in very, very small quantity. Okay. So the above equation will be reduced to is equal to W2 divided by M2 divided by m1. Okay, so or we can also write this as p naught minus ps divided by p naught is equal to w2 into m1 divided by w1 into m2. So this is a very important equation. This is the fourth and final equation. Okay, so we have arrived at this equation. So please remember this equation because very important for solving the problems related to the relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, I'll write this equation once again and what are the terms are there in this equation. I'll okay go to the okay. So the equation is P naught minus Ps divided by P naught is equal to W2 into M1 divided by W1 into M2. So you have to remember this equation. So here W1, W2, M1, M2. So W1 is mass of the solute. Okay, it will not change. So W1 means 1 is always for solute. Second, that is W2 is mass of the solvent. Okay, M1 is molar mass or molecular mass. Molecular mass of the solute. Solvent. Okay. Okay, please go through the equation. Okay. 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 So this is the final equation. That is P naught is vapor pressure of pure component. Ps is vapor pressure of the solution. W2 is the mass of the solute. W1 is mass of the solvent. M1 is molecular mass of the solvent and M2 is molecular mass of the solute. Okay. So these things you have to remember because in the problem they won't give you what is the molecular mass of the solute and molecular mass of the solvent. So directly they will mention and you have to recognize it. Okay. So today in this class we have studied about the isotropic mixtures or constant boiling mixtures. We have minimum and maximum boiling isotopes. With certain examples I have discussed and also the colligative properties. I told you what is a colligative property and how it affects. Okay, it basically depends on the solute, amount of solute you have taken and based on that it will decrease the vapor pressure. Okay, and under that you have four different colligative properties. So today in this class, we have discussed the first colligative property, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay. So in that, we got this equation. Okay. And we have discussed how to determine the molecular mass of the solute using relative lowering of vapor pressure equation. And finally, we got this equation. Okay. Please remember this equation. And I've told you what are the terms which I have used in this equation. That is W1, W2, M1 and M2, P0 and PS, the things. Okay. So please revise and go through once, pause the video and look back, and we'll discuss the next three colligative properties in the next class. Okay. Thank you.